Um, Hi guys, my name is Marlon Managa. I'm the marine biologist and the dive center manager here at Magic Oceans Dive Resort and Bohol, Philippines. So today we are going to talk about the very beautiful animals that we can find here in Anda, in the underwater world. Aside from this very beautiful, they're also very colorful, which attracts a lot of photographers, especially for those macro photographers. So let's move on with our topic. So this will be our topic for this afternoon or for today. The nudibranchs. So it's called the naked gills, and I will explain to you later on our next slides why are they called the naked gills, or the name itself, the nudibranchs. All right. So we have set of topics to be discussed, or the goals for today. So first, we are going to talk about the descriptive traits or the significant characteristics of the nudibranch, the feeding habits, the nematocyst. So some of you guys may not know what nematocyst is. So later I will explain it to you on our next slides. And also the reproduction. So four goals that can be discussed for today. All right, so let's begin with the significant characteristics or these descriptive traits. So what are nudibranchs? So in plural, nudibranchs. If it's singular, if it's only one, you may pronounce it as nudibranch. Okay, so others, they may call it or pronounce it as nudibranch, but in a correct way, it sounds like, or it sounds to be nudibranch for singular and also nudibranchs for plural. So nudibranchs are mollusks, guys. So they are soft and fleshy body, similar with the gastropods, with the snails, sea snails. You also have like the cuttlefish, squids, octopus. They also belong to the mollusk, the phylum Mollusca. So why are they called nudibranchs? So in short, we call them nudies. So nudibranchs is divided into two words. This is the Greek word for nudus, and also the nude and the branchs, which is the branchus. So literally naked gills. So the gills are located outside. So that's why they are called nudibranchs. So others, for sea slugs, you may be confused with other animals. Like sea slugs, for example, they're a completely different animal with this nudibranch. Why? Because again, nudibranchs, they have naked gills, sea slugs, they don't have. So nudibranchs comes into like a bright coloration. They do have like bold designs. So like this. So they have like blue, yellow. So imagine the rainbow colors, the rainbow coloration. They do have that one. It depends on what species. Sometimes like this, pink. Sometimes like this, yellow. This is very famous. It's called the banana nudibranch, or the Notodorus minor. This one, Nimbrota, also sometimes like greenish, but they have like dots like that red. So orange like this. You can find them wherever you want it to be. So, but here in Anda, you can find a lot of like nudibranchs here, colorful ones and also like rare ones. All right. So nudibranchs, they're kind of like poisonous. So they don't have really, how do you say, defense mechanism like other fishes do. For example, the lionfish, they do have like very stingy spines. They don't have that one. Instead, they do have a poison. So the poison is like they put sulfuric acid that is produced by their skin. So sulfuric acid, guys, is kind of like this tasteful for other fish. So they hate eating this kind of like nudibranchs because imagine you have sulfuric acid there, so it's not tasteful for other predators. Nudibranchs can be found in the tropics and subtropic areas. Other regions like frozen regions or cold regions, they can be found also. There are a lot of like nudibranchs also there. Shallow water areas, mostly in the shallow. Why? Because they do have a lot of their favorite diets, the ones that they're eating. Corals, sponges, algae, bryozoans, they live mostly in the shallow water area. There are around 3,000 plus known species of nudibranchs. A lot now, especially that we are using the DNA molecular analysis. So imagine you have 3,000 plus known species of nudibranchs worldwide, and there are still others that are waiting to be explored. So the size of the nudibranchs um, can reach up to 60 centimeters. Well, 1 centimeter, and others are around like size, very tiny ones, guys. So imagine the 2 millimeters, 4 millimeters, 5 This is good for macro photographers. They do have good lenses. Okay, 60 centimeters. This will be the biggest. The biggest nudibranchs that we can find is the Hexabranchus sanguineus, which is called the Spanish dancer. Okay, so sorry guys about the one. So I forgot about the English name, but this one, the Spanish dancer. So imagine the size or the length of your fin or your fins. So that's also be the size of your Spanish dancers. All right. So the weight of the nudibranchs can also be like around 1.5 or less than 1.5 kilos. It depends on the sizes. It depends on the species also, guys. So speed of nudibranchs can be 10 meters per day. This is like the diameter, so they can go like 5 to 10 meters per day. So if you see a nudibranchs now, um, just try to find it again tomorrow, and probably you can still see it there. So the only thing, and it's a good thing to find nudies, especially in a certain or specific area, is that they are feeding. Sometimes they're mating, so it's easily for you guys to find them again tomorrow or the day after. If they're feeding, they're really feeding a lot. Okay, so that's the speed of our nudie. So the lifespan of nudibranchs, guys, is around like 1 year. So most of them can live only less than a year, like months. So that's why they're really procreating or reproducing a lot. So the next one will be our general anatomy. So we are talking about now the external anatomy of our naked gills or our nudibranchs. So the gills are used mainly for respiration. So this is where they breathe, the exchange of oxygen, the gas. Mainly we have dorid, and we also have like the eyelid. So two life forms of the nudies. So if you can see on those yellow flower at the back, that's the gills, guys. So we also have like Felididae, and we also have like the Armenidae. So this type of animals, they are called the side gill slugs. Okay. So serrata for the eyelid, for example, is also used for respiration. That's the main thing. And they can be the location also for the digestion and also be the site for the defense. So the dorid, they do have the flower, while the eyelid, they do have the serrata. So dorid gills the eyelid serrata. So we are going to talk about that one later on, specifically about the defense mechanism, okay? So the rhinophores, which is located at the front, like the two yellow there on the dorid, is very important for them because it serves as a location, or the thing is used for taste, the touch, and for smelling, to find their mate also, find their food. It's very important for them. The eyes is, they do have eyes, but it's not so visible, only if you look closely in a close-up, macro shots. And the eyes is not so good. They're relying mostly on their rhinophores, but their eyes, they've been used, their eyes is like black and dark. So most of the time they're using the rhinophores instead of their eyes. So they do have mantle. The mantle is like the body covering of the nudibranchs. It's distasteful to fish. Again, why? Because they produce sulfuric acid. All right. So the foot is like a pseudopodger. It's been used for movement. So like undulating, and then they move forward. So let's move on to their feeding habits. So this picture, guys, was taken during the pandemic last year, 2020. It's called the Spanish Dancer. So we have a lot of Spanish dancers here at Magic Oceans Dive Resort. So if you want to see Spanish dancers almost every day or every night, just come here, visit us, and we will show you. They're very beautiful. Why? Because they come up during nighttime because they're a nocturnal organism, and they also love to swim. So they undulate their body and they swim, and it's very beautiful. That's why they call the Spanish dancers. So nudibranchs in general, they are carnivorous animals. They are eating sponges, corals, anemones, hydroids, barnacles, fish eggs, and other nudibranchs. In short, cannibalism do exist with nudies. So nudibranchs also produce slime trail. Like the gastropods or the related cousins here, land or in terrestrial, the land snails, if they walk, they do have like a slime. So they produce also that one, and it's easy for them to find their food. So let's see about this video. So again, they're carnivorous and cannibalism do exist. So the small Hypsilodoris animals is kind of like hungry and he wants to eat. But then the other one is trying to eat this small one. So basically this is what going to happen. So that's it. So feeding that one, and then that's it. All because of their slime trail. So they can detect that one using the rhinophores. All right. So moving on, they do have natural predators again because they are cannibal. Others are cannibals. So nudies, for example, the nudibranchs. Sea turtles, like the hawksbill sea turtles. I found the hawksbill sea turtle way back 2018, if I'm not mistaken, when I was still working in Bohol, Cebu. Sea turtles and also crabs. That's the few natural predators that we can mention here. So let's talk about the nematocysts. So earlier during the second slide, I mentioned about the nematocysts. So what is nematocyst? So the nematocyst, guys, this is the stinging cell of the corals or cnidarians. So for example, this is the reason why corals are very itchy. Okay, so on this picture, this is the coral, the polyp, the animal itself. Then the location of your nematocyst is this one. So this is actually the representation or the figure of our nematocyst. So if you look, there's like a harpoon there. So the moment it will get stung, or you will get stung by this nematocyst in your skin, is itchy. So the more it's going to be itchy, you scratch, the more it's itchy because of these like blades there that you can see on that arrow. All right. So when nematocyst is located inside the polyp or the animal or the coral polyp itself, the eyelid, the nudibranchs are feeding this coral. Then it will then be transferred. So the idea is it will then be transferred to the serrata. And that one is the location again for the eyelid, which is earlier I mentioned, is the location for digestion and also for the defense. So for the defensive mechanism, how? So if you look here, there's a green, it's called the mucus. The yellow one is the digestive juice. The gray part there is the nudie mouth. And the orange part here and the circular there, that's the anemone and the nematocyst. So take note about the green barrier or the mucus. So when nematocyst is going to enter the mouth of the nudie guys, it's going to be like this. It will then be encapsulated, so for them not to be affected by the stinging cells. So it will be delivered to their serrata and can be used for digestive purposes. So what I literally mean is this type of animals, the eyelid, they do have serrata. So if you touch them, it's also be itchy. Okay, so again, you have Dorid earlier that I mentioned. The Dorid is a simple one. You have this one, the rhinophore. So this is the signal for the nudibranchs underwater. It's like, I saw a nudie, so this is the one. And at the back of the nudie, you can find the naked gill or the gills. So the external gills. So this is the simple one or the Dorid. All right. So the other one is the eyelid. How can you distinguish which type of food are they going to eat? So, for example, the Dorid guys, they're feeding mainly on sponges, simple ones with this one, the gills, feeding mainly on sponges, and the eyelid, which have hairs. So those animals or the nudibranchs that you can find underwater with hairs, those nudibranchs are eating the stinging cells or the animals that have stinging cells. Soft corals, corals, for example, hydroids, very itchy. So those are the type of animals, the eyelid, all right? So let's move on. Let's move on to the reproduction, which is very important. So the mating 101 or the reproduction 101 for the nudibranchs. So nudibranchs can be sexually fully matured at around 15 millimeters. It depends on the species, guys. So it's not like they can reach up to 5-6 months and they can be sexually fully matured. Others, like 2 months, 3 months, they can be sexually fully matured. So that's why it's on their size, guys. The nudibranchs, they can be they are both male and female. So they are hermaphrodites, guys. They're both male and female, but they cannot self reproduce. So they cannot do self fertilization. So the chance is higher, the mating chance is higher. Why? Because they're both male and female. But how are they going to do it? So the genitalia of the nudibranchs is located the right side of the neck. Okay, so always right side, guys. You can see they're protruding left or the right side neck. So sperm will be given and received. So based on the picture there, look closely. There, this is where your sperm will be given and received. All right, it's like there. So stored till eggs develop, and then that's their fertilization. That's the fertilization of the nudies. All right. So pregnancy and beyond for the nudies. So nudibranchs produce a lot of like eggs, so millions of eggs, guys. The higher chance is like a little. So most of the nudibranchs do produce spiral form, or we call it the egg ribbon, like that, like this, like that, like a flower, like a rose flower underwater. And they have this chemical defense. So the chemical defense for the nudie guys, they put the sulfuric acid. So also there. So most of the time when the nudies are laying their eggs per batch, they lay close to food. They consume a lot of like energy there. So eating and then sometimes feeding, sometimes they just like release or lay their eggs. So the color is dependent on the food. If it's like yellow that they are eating, most of the time it's kind of like yellowish. All right. So just to recap about our nudibranchs seminar or lecture, nudibranchs belong to phylum Mollusca or the mollusk. So they are soft and fleshy body. They don't have external, how do you say it, shells, visible shells that you can see. If you compare it to other seashells, snails. They are naked gills. The name nudibranchs is like naked and gills. So that's them. In short, we just call them nudies. They are carnivorous animals. So they are eating mostly animals like sponge, corals, barnacles, fish eggs, and also cannibalism do exist also. They're feeding, other species are feeding nudies also. All right. So nudibranchs are hermaphrodites. They're both male and female. They're toxic in nature, very colorful, but then they just produce this sulfuric acid that is super distasteful to other fish. Others, they have this chemical defense, which is the nematocyst or the stinging cells. So it could be itchy, guys. So they have this unique coloration, different coloration from blue to yellow to pink to orange to black, something like that. And they do have these bold designs. The bold designs helps us distinguish which kind of species we are looking at. Sometimes they're kind of like so difficult to distinguish, so we rely on the DNA molecular analysis. So that's it. Thank you once again. My name is Marlon, and keep following Magic Ocean's page all the time. If you have time now, it's pandemic. Once the borders will be open, guys, we are going to welcome you and find the nudibranchs here, nudibranchs here in Anda. There are places that we can easily see them in the wall. For example, we have wall diving here. The reef is super beautiful, pristine. We also have our muck diving area. Our muck diving areas here are super good. We don't have this kind of like plastics or any kind of like trash or debris. But then visibility is also good, not so much if you compare to other muck diving areas. But our nudibranchs here, I can promise you, and this one, promise and fingers crossed, that we have a lot and beautiful and kind of like rare species that we can find here. Okay. So next time, guys, we're going to talk about another lecture, another topic, animals that we can see here in Anda, in our underwater world. So again, Marlon Managa, guys, Magic Oceans Dive Resort. Please support Magic Resorts. We also have like Magic Island Resort located in Small Bohol, Cebu. All right. So I may say bye-bye, guys. Thank you for watching.